Authorities have arrested a suspect in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students last month. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News 28-year-old Brian Koberger was detained at his parents' home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. He's expected to be charged with 4 homicides and will be extradited to Idaho to face the charges. They also say he is a graduate of Washington State University. It's been over a month since the 4 students were killed at a rental house near campus on November 13th. We expect to learn more details during a police news conference at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which, when it starts, we will, of course, bring it to you live. Let's bring in former FBI Special Agent Tracy Walder to talk a bit about this. Tracy, thank you for joining us here. Are you surprised to hear that the suspect was taken into custody so far away from the scene of this crime?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yes and no, I think, is the correct answer to that question. It looks like he was taken into custody in a rather remote region, the Pocono Mountain region in Pennsylvania. So I'm not surprised that this person was in a remote region, because really what's always sort of confused me about this case is the fact that, people are social, they have cell phones, they have friends that they're talking to, and really we've had no one coming forward even earlier with information. So I would imagine that this person perhaps had 1 or 2 accomplices helping keep him, away from the public eye. But I think I'm not surprised that he was found in a remote region. I'm just surprised that he got as far as a Pennsylvania remote region.
In your opinion, do you think that the suspect may have known those that were killed here?
That's a great question. It's hard to say. There are possibilities of suspects that are floating around right now. And like you said, we don't have that information right now. And it wouldn't be correct to speculate until the police make that formal announcement. But I think that there's kind of 2 avenues that you can look at. I don't think that this was a killing where the person was intimately familiar with the victims, sort of in their inner circle, but it may have been someone that they came into contact with at some point. Or we could be looking at a sort of a crime of opportunity of someone that perhaps had been violent before and exhibited violent tendencies before, but wasn't known to law enforcement. So I think those are sort of the 2 avenues that are at play here.
Looking at this, has there been anything about this case that's surprised you or that's been especially interesting in the development so far?
I think a couple things have been interesting to me. First, sort of what I alluded to before, I've always actually been pretty complimentary of law enforcement in this case. Initially, they were a little bit confusing in terms of their messaging, and that's understandable. This was a small department. One of the things that I found quite complimentary in terms of what they did was they reached out immediately for help because they knew that they needed it. And I very much commend them for that. The second thing is that even though the suspect was caught, albeit, 6 weeks-ish later, I am surprised that in this day and age of social media, phones, ATMs, everything being digital, that we didn't have a suspect earlier. And I don't think that that's the fault of law enforcement. I'm talking about just social media in general, seeing someone or saying something. That was very surprising to me.
Tracy Walder, thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more developments coming in over the next couple of hours and a couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you.